Our guest speaker, Reverend Amber Rose Dullea, is an inspiring humorous psychotherapist and minister. She embodies compassion, humor, and a whole systems approach. She has authored 2 books, Path of the Heart, Personal and Planetary Healing, and From Ow to Wow, 5 Steps to Thriving with Pain. She is a medical social worker with hospice and a psychotherapist in private practice. Today, Reverend Amber Rose is here to share with us how the principle of release can change our life. Intentions help to give shape to our life, but letting go and releasing what no longer serves us, negativity and fear, allows for what is truly needed to appear. She says it is when we most want to hold on that the gift of release can change our life. Please welcome Reverend Amber Rose Dullea.
My water. I'm holding on to it. Well, thank you again for having me back. I always love my time here at Ocean Unity and seeing familiar faces and some new faces that I don't know. So that's great. Today, we are going to explore the spiritual principle of release. Release or letting go is a profound, essential part of spiritual life. As we've already heard through the affirmations and the songs, release allows us to bring in that which will serve us better than what we're letting go of. What I have found is that learning is a process of gaining knowledge and wisdom, but a key component of learning is unlearning. All that we thought we knew, we might need to let go of in order for a higher truth to come in. That's why I think release and letting go is so important. I'm going to be vulnerable today. Let's just say it out loud. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories from my life about letting go, and sometimes when I did it well, and sometimes when it took me a little bit of time, just to illustrate how it can actually impact you on a very physical level to a spiritual level of meaning and purpose in your life. We can't learn new truths without being willing to let go of old truths. So put that in the back pocket there. Today, I want to share 2 stories of letting go from my own life. One is a story of the process of letting go that maybe could have gone a little better. Could have gotten there sooner. In my experience, letting go has the opposite effect happening at the same time, which is the want to grasp. So if you ever tried to let go of something and then you're like, well, no, wait, I'm not quite ready to do that. I'm going to take it back. I see a few nods. That's happened for more people than me. Well, I had an interesting experience. Isn't that an interesting word? Interesting. I went back in the day when I was a financial planner. I worked for a company and they were going to do a team building kind of thing. And we decided we were going whitewater rafting. Sounds fun, except for I'd never been. Rhiannon, my wife, was with me and she had some experience, which was great. Unfortunately, we were paired with one other woman and 2 young men, and the 2 young men said they knew what they were doing. So we let them. That was a bad letting go. Let's just say that that wasn't the smartest of letting go. But so we were doing okay. We were riding down, I don't know, anybody here whitewater raft before? Quite a few. Okay, so you know this, you're just kind of going down the river. And then we started hitting some rapids and we had a choice point. We could go to the right to the rapid that was, I would call it a waterfall. And or kind of going around to probably a rapid that was a 3, something like that. So that was the other choice. Well, our guides, these guys that I worked with, decided to go down to the right. And well, let's just say I let go in a bad way again, because I fell in the water. I didn't hold on. And so there I was at the bottom of the waterfall, not letting go well, because of course, what they tell you, those of you who've done whitewater rafting, is that you are supposed to point your feet downriver and let the river flow, right? That sounds so easy when somebody told me before I got in the boat. I was like, oh, sure, point your feet, that's great. In a spiritual sense, pointing your feet downriver is about pointing towards your intentions, right? You know that this is the way that the river is taking you. You want to point your feet towards that. Well, let's just say that I didn't do that right away, because I thought that grabbing onto boats that were going over my head was a better idea. So I'm grabbing on, I'm yelling, I'm doing all of this. And finally, I went, okay, let's try this. I'm going to point my feet downriver. First off, my feet were not pointing anywhere but down, right? I'm like, how am I supposed to get my feet up going the right way? So I finally did. And then I thought, no, this is a bad idea. And so I started waving around again and not letting go. And then I did it again and got my feet pointed in the right direction, going down the river. And I got to safety. And in the moment when I stopped panicking, which was what was happening, I felt peace and I knew safety. Now, that's a very physical kind of thing that is about release and letting go. That was a moment where, a couple of scenes in my life flashed before me as I was going, right? But when I was able to remember the wisdom of pointing my feet down river and letting the river flow, I was able to let go and have the peace that was useful. What I learned in that is that it is all connected, right? I knew in my mind that this was a really smart thing to do because everybody told me so, right? This was some wisdom that I should follow, but my body was not in alignment with this at all. My body was in panic mode. So I had to not only have my mind, but my feelings and my body align with the letting go, with that release. So oftentimes we'll say, well, I let go of that. But have you really? Is it still in your body? Are you still emotionally connected to it? Have you reached the point where your heart, mind, body, spirit are in alignment with release? So I encourage people to release and let go when you're in the flow. But if you're in the boat, you might want to hold on. Just thinking that might be a good time to hold on. Yeah, I did it the opposite. So I have to say that if we had listened to Rhiannon, I wouldn't have had this story to tell because she would have taken us the other direction. But as in all things, God works mysteriously, and today I was able to tell a story because we didn't listen to you. So the second story is a little bit more recent. And I remember this quite vividly. And what I want to say is that it seems like it was a an amazing aha sort of moment, right? Just like it, but it wasn't spontaneous and it was a work that had happened over and over and over again of releasing and letting go and releasing till I finally got to that place where I could feel the peace. I could feel that this was where my feet should be pointing. And what I'm referring to is a moment in my living room about 3.5 years ago or so, when in my mind, I just felt, and in my heart, I just knew, and my body relaxed. I was like, I'm going to be a therapist. Now, you have to know that I've been told many, 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 many times that I should be a therapist over my lifetime. And every time I'm like, no way. I don't want that kind of responsibility. I don't want to be the person who's supposed to fix people, right? That's scary. That's scary. Well, over years of releasing and letting go, I realized that I wasn't being responsible for others. That's very disempowering, right? I'm there to hold space. I'm there to give skills. I'm there to create that place where somebody could discover their own power and their own knowing. Well, it took me, as I said, many, many times of having that argument inside of my head before that day. But I remember it quite clearly. I was standing in my living room, I looked out the window, and it just hit me. I'm going back to school. I'm going to become a therapist. Well, the letting go started a long time ago. And some of you have heard the story of the accident that I was in, that I had asked God, so what's next? What's mine to do? And then a car hit me, right? Well, because of that, I had to let go. I let go of doing massage. I had to let go of teaching because of the lights were making my migraines too bad. And I moved into coaching, doing success coaching with college students. And that was a step towards where I needed to eventually get to, right? But it was only a step, and it was a step like, okay, they're still in charge of their own stuff. I don't have to, I'm not responsible for too much. This is okay, I can deal with this. Well, what I found out was that coaching was not enough for me. As most of you know, heart, mind, body, spirit is the core of where I come from. I have the massage for the body. I have the MSW for the spirit. I have now a master's of social work for the emotional and the mental. All of it is so important together. And it took all of that to get to a place where I felt like I could actually give back and do therapy. So in that moment, in that realization, that new truth took a root in a way that had never happened before. And there was a sense of peace. Just like, let go, I'm not holding on to anything anymore. I'm not trying to make something happen. I'm in the flow now, and my feet are pointing towards my intention. Now, that was 3.5 years ago. In the meantime, I went back to school. I got my master's of social work. I've done my internship. I did my other internship. I did my job, and right now I'm working as a hospice social worker and doing a side private practice. And that is all because I let go of my preconceived notions of what I should be doing and what was my purpose. And basically, in that moment, I realigned myself with my highest self and was able to move through it. So let's talk about how you let go in these two different stories. First story with the river, survival. Isn't that what we really have in our mind when we are holding on and thinking that we know best, that this is the thing that's going to make it all okay? Whatever that is, a job, an idea, a way of doing things in the world. And when we release, we open our hands and we're able to receive. When we're clutched, there is no room to receive anything. But it also takes patience. We heard about that earlier, which I thought was funny, Lucy. The one that you chose was actually my birthday. So that was fun. It's all connected. It's all connected. But yeah, so when you are able to let go, you're able to be open to receiving what's new, what's truer for you in this moment, what your highest good is. So what I find is that when we're grasping, it's usually because of fear. And when we're allowed to let go, when we allow ourselves to let go, it's because of faith. Faith that all is good and it is working for us, right? We know that. Like I knew it was important to put my feet down the river, right? But I wasn't able to do it right away. And that's okay. I think it's important to realize that the process of releasing and letting go is like a muscle that we're using to be able to make it easier the next time we need to let go. Because we get the idea, wow, this actually worked. I let go and I was able to receive. So knowing that release is not easy, knowing that release is and letting go is an act of faith, but it is also an act of faith that brings us so much more. So I would have to say that the intention, I know that you all had a talk this month about intention. So that intention that you talked about, let that be your down the river. Point your feet, that part of you which leads you. Point your feet down that river to your intention. Let go and find the peace. Thank you very much.